Hi, welcome to the Armourgeddon channel. This is the final part of our four-part restoration series on the Lee, M3 Lee. She's 99.9% there now. We actually managed to get her running and driving the other day. First time in 25 years this old girl's actually moved under her own steam. As you can see, she's all painted up, guns are all fitted. We're just waiting for a new set of tracks. As you can see, we've got the lights fitted. They were obviously smashed off when we got it originally. Horns fitted, all those are working fine. Everything's, guns are all moving. In fact, the guns are live firing, so we're hoping we will be able to put a few blank rounds through them eventually. What we have here is the rear engine decks. We've taken them off so you can actually see into the clutch area. This piece here, on top of this engine deck, is actually a non-factory fitted piece. We think it was fitted to stop grenades and petrol bombs being thrown down into where the fan and the engine were. Originally it would have just had a mesh across here. We're not quite sure when this was fitted, whether it was wartime or a post-war Australian fitting. Here you can see all the wheels are now fitted. All the old rubber ones have been replaced, and all the new stuff is on there. Everything moving freely, all springs are now moving. Top rollers are all moving and been repaired. Everything's greased up and working a treat. Here's the engine. That's the carburettor that you can see at the back. It's all been rebuilt and is now running a treat. As you can see, there's the engine. That engine bay was nice and shiny before we started it. But typical radial engines, they throw a lot of oil around once they get started. So nice clean engine bay, now a nice oily one. Okay, and this is the offending item down here. This clutch, which is the bit you can see down there, that's the main prop shaft coming out the front of it. The clutch, we originally put this one into the sexton and it worked a treat once we used it in there. We didn't realise that actually this clutch was actually made for the Lee, and it although it'll work in the other vehicles clutches won't work in the Lee, so we've had to take it out of there, out of the sexton, and put it back into here to actually make this vehicle run and drive. It's a lot softer for putting your foot on the clutch than the later ones. Okay, a little bit about the engine. 9-cylinder radial engine, originally designed for aircraft, as I've said in earlier episodes. This one is all running nicely now. These are exhaust pipes coming out the top, and these are your air filters coming into here, sucking air in through the carburettor down there. Throws a little bit of oil around, but that's because they are radial engines, that's what they do. But she's actually running fine now. Here we have the 30 cal mount and the 30 cal here. This is obviously a replica, but that would have been fitted in here for your commander to be either anti-aircraft or to protect the actual vehicle itself. Really bad design because you can't close the hatches with a machine gun here, and these are quite heavy to suddenly have to drag out when you needed to shut your hatches quick, but that's the way they had it. Here you've got the 37mm cannon, and next to it you've got another 30 caliber machine gun there. The 37mm gun was in quite a mess when we got it. We've had it all freed up, and she actually is live firing, so maybe in the future you'll see us actually put a blank round through it. Okay, here we have inside the small turret on top of the Lee. This is where the 37mm cannon is. I don't know if you remember the earlier episodes, but if you do, you'll remember how horrendous this actual part was. The basket was all bent, none of the internals were fitted. The lads have done a great job getting this all back together. You've got the commander's seat here. It would have been just down there. You have your gunner's seat there, and over the other side, which is very difficult to see from here, but over the other side is your loader's seat. So you would have 3 men in that extremely tight spot, plus guns firing and ammunition being moved around. It must have been hell on earth. Here's the dashboard, all looking pristine. A lot of it works, not quite everything yet. We're still waiting for a few cables, but majority of it works. This is your ignition. You've got your left and right mags. Starter and booster, it's your lights. This is your primer pump. You have to pump that We're having to pump it 6 times. That actually pumps petrol into your engine cylinders, so you can get your initial fire up. Hand throttle, obviously panel lights, and these are all your bits and pieces down here. This is your steering. Steers beautifully as well. There's your clutch, and then your accelerators on the other side, and gear stick down here. Yeah, in the beginning this was in a right state. We've had to rebuild some of these gauges. We've had some new ones to replace them. All are working fine now though. The whole of this area down here was just rotten. The floor was in a mess, all bubbled up. A lot of the stuff underneath was seized solid, so all had to be taken out and fixed and rebuilt. Seat, as you can see, has been rebuilt, recushioned. That was in a right mess. None of this worked. This is your gun elevation and traverse. All works a treat now. Gun sights. Here we have the water containers. This is where originally they had 230 cals, but they decided it was a bad idea, so they got rid of those, and this is just water containers. And this is the personal protection. This is your Thompson machine gun. Would have had the ammunition stored down here, and your Thompson there. The radio was fitted here. We haven't yet done that. We're still waiting to get one actually. Haven't got the radio for it. But other than that, everything else is pretty well done. There would have originally been 7 guys in here, so you would have the gunner, loader, driver, and the radio operator here, and then 3 guys in that small turret up top. We are hoping to get 7 of us in here just to give an idea of how cramped it is, but that'll be later when we drive it back up to the museum. That's the area where the loader would have stood, pretty tight. Underneath his feet is the escape hatch, so they could get out from underneath if there was a major problem. You've got your oil coolers there. That's the engine oil cooler. There would be the gearbox oil cooler on the other side. As you can see, the prop shaft in the corner, on the bottom corner there, and they're your fuel gauges, those 2 gauges at the back. This area down here was an absolute state when we got it. Nothing moved. A lot of it wasn't in. It was already on pallets. This is the view of the bottom of the 37mm turret. And there you can see your gunner's seat, commander's seat over behind it, and the loader's seat directly above the fire extinguisher. All those racks you can see in the back, that's where the 37mm rounds would have been stored. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little series of our M3 restoration. We have a major project coming, and we'll be doing another series on that.